What was your "I don't get paid enough for this" moment at work? We used to be paid half salary to attend seminars related to our industry that grant professional development hours. These seminars would often be at 7 AM at a hotel that was about a 2-hour drive for me, if I was lucky, in rush hour traffic to get to, but hey, it was paid, and had free breakfast, so waking up at 4:30 to attend wasn't the worst thing in the world. The company announced that they believed attending the seminars was furthering our knowledge, therefore helping the company, and therefore helping us, so we would no longer be paid to attend them but were still expected to go. I just said fuck that and haven't attended a single one since then, and delete all the invite emails. I'm paid hourly, so taking the 6 hours out of my day to drive and attend a seminar I am not being paid for is just plain stupid. I was asked why I haven't gone to any, and told them I have mortgage to pay. Haven't been asked to go again since. Email from boss, we won't be paying you anymore but we still expect you to go. Response email from me. Lol. I don't understand why companies have difficulties with this concept. My company used to have an annual meeting with everyone in the company where they would bring in some motivational speakers, address how the company was doing, etc. It was after hours, mandatory and unpaid, illegal where I am. I went to one. They had a speaker who basically went on about how rich he was, and how much richer than him the owner of our company is. I never went to another one. Your employees only do stuff for you because you pay them. If you want me to do something, and you're not going to pay me, I'm not doing it. My boss insisted that everybody be at their desks at 8:30 sharp. She made me take roll on an attendance sheet and hand it into her every day. She also made me do it at lunchtime, when everybody left and came back, and when they left at night. Took roll for a bunch of adults 3 times a day. I don't work there anymore. Our productivity and morale was through the roof with the old boss. He got promoted to corporate and company hired a new one. He goes through every single room at 8 o'clock sharp to check if people are working, and if the guys that work outside the office already left. Same thing after lunch. Everyone is fucking miserable and performance went downhill. Oh man, I'm actually relieved, because I had to do this same shit to my subordinates, and honestly I made up numbers 99% of the time because they worked their full hours, and could prove it, and their performance was the best in the office, because they weren't being crushed by an asshole dictator. I left after I was told to follow my subordinates to the bathroom to time their breaks in there, and one of my team was a pregnant woman. When I objected, I was told by the highest management that I was immature, not a team player, and I had to do exactly everything I was told, no questions asked. No exaggeration, those are direct quotes. I made sure my folks were covered and handed in my resignation. After I left, my friends there told me that a bunch of other people walked too. It was a great place to work for my first 2 years, but the manager had never held that position, was stubborn, and hated millennials, and so went out of her way to be horrible to her own staff. No Rajats, yo. I worked in SROs in the middle of the roughest part of my city. I frequently have to identify drug dealers, report them, get them banned, and then enforce the ban. I get threatened by them a lot, usually just with fists or knives. I don't mind that so much. If they come at me with a knife then the cops actually bust them, and then they're out of my hair for good. Well, one guy just kind of laughed at me, and said I'd regret it if I kept getting in his way. Which people say, though usually more aggressively, and I don't put much stock into it. Then he gave me his name and just told me to Google him. Turns out he's the son of one of the more violent crime families in the area. They are connected to like 40 targeted killings, and a lot of them are guys like me getting gunned down in parking lots. At that point I backed the fuck off. $20 an hour is not enough to fight the fucking mob. Edit, because apparently people don't know what an SRO is, and are angry about it. Single room occupancy. Which people say, though usually more aggressively. This is the epitome of that. Speak softly and carry a big stick thing. Dude didn't need to threaten you, he was just stating some facts. Assuming it was really him, and not someone else giving you his name. Spooky anyway. It was definitely him. Police confirmed his identity with me shortly after. I also did some asking around. All the low-level dealers and muscle in the area were scared shitless of him. But yeah, that's my experience too. The people who yell and scream at me and threaten to stab me are doing so because they are terrified of their life and their situation. The ones who are calm and smiling in those places are the ones who are actually scary. In my other job, every guy who ever took a swing at me was smiling before he did it. An old man rushed inside our store, literally running to the bathroom, but still managed to shit himself and all over the floor before he could make it. Right in the most open, spacious part of the store. When I was in high school at a retail job, we had a customer shit explosion in the bathroom. My assistant manager asked me to go clean it and I looked at him and said, "Sorry dude, I am not doing that." He threatened to fire me, and I just said that I'd quit before I had the chance, and tell the GM exactly why. He huffed and puffed and went to go clean it. I know an AM at a retail store isn't exactly making the big bucks, but if you expect a 17-year-old making $7 per hour to go clean someone's shit off the walls in the bathroom, go fuck yourself. I can go make $7 per hour at about 30 places in town. Your store isn't special. The time I went to sleep under my desk at work at 5 AM because I needed to be back at my desk for an 8 AM call. I had promised myself a long time ago that I would never sleep under my desk. I would go home, or just work straight through, but I wouldn't do that. I only lived a 12-minute walk home, but that night I realized that getting those extra 24 minutes of sleep were worth not going home. I was so sad about it. I am a corporate lawyer. We had been working, literally, around the clock for days on a deal that was going sideways. This was a Wednesday or Thursday morning, but I had been there until 3 AM Sunday night, 5 AM Monday night, 6 AM Tuesday night, and had been back in the office by 9 AM every day. That's when I knew I needed to quit, but I'm still here a year and change later. Oops. That schedule sounds crazy. Do you still work those insane hours now? That was among the absolute worst of it. After back-to-back 120-hour weeks, you really start to lose your mind. No idea how anyone expects you to be doing high-level legal work on this little sleep. I was being billed out at close to $1 k hour but was probably drooling on myself for parts of those weeks. I've since moved to a different group within the same firm, and it's saner, or at least there tend to not be as many bad weeks in a row. I was one of 50 or so 12-17-year-olds working on this farm harvesting tobacco. Most of the kids were illegal, but I was just 17, and homeless and couldn't get a job cause I didn't have an ID or any paperwork. I'd started hanging out with the Hispanics because they were the ones who got under the table jobs. We got there at 6, lunch at 1, leave at 8. It's summer, and it's the heat of the day. A couple hours after lunch and this young girl, not more than 14, working alongside me suddenly passes out and will not wake up. I called for help, and one of the guys watching over us walked over all slow and unconcerned. "Can you wake her up?" I said I couldn't. "Alright. Let's bring her to the..." I picked her up and carried her there. He had me set her down by a tree in the shade, and then disappeared into the house. I didn't know what to do and I'm panicking, so I pour water on her forehead and take off her long sleeves. You have to cover every part of your skin when working with that much tobacco or else you'll get sick. A few minutes pass. She's breathing rapidly and shallowly and I'm still freaking out. So I yell to this other guy who's supervising us, and he just says, "Did someone call an ambulance?" I said no. Shit. So he calls the ambulance and then comes over, and basically just watches me as I try to cool this girl down. As soon as they get there, all the supervisors tell me to go back to work and I don't get to talk to the EMTs. I never saw them ask any of the other Hispanic kids for her name or anything. I don't know if she came there alone, or they just didn't notice. My supervisor later told me the EMT said she was having a serious heat stroke. Never heard how she turned out. I just went back to work. It was pretty good money compared to what I was used to. They used to make us leave our water jugs by the barn, because they thought we slowed down too much with all our hydration, allowing us about 10 minutes every 2 hours to drink up. We had to wear hot ass long sleeves, and gloves and jeans. I remember drinking so much water I threw up, then drinking more cause I just lost it all lol. That really taught me how much a hat helps you when you're in the sun all day. There were thousands of acres that all needed to be harvested, and put up in less than 2 weeks. We did it in a little more than 4 days. Payment was $50 a day. That's the hardest I ever worked. Life isn't worth living if you work that hard. Those Hispanic kids, though, they were insane. Never saw them complain. They'd just sing and joke if they said anything. That girl was dead silent up till the heat stroke. I still remember that. I don't know if places like that are still around, but they shouldn't be.